Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me? I think you should be able to. Let me know. And welcome to Books and Beer. It's fantastic to be here with you. I've got a beer right here. I'm going to crack that open right now. You may be thinking I'm supposed to be with Nadia Sadiq now. I am, but she hasn't come in. So I thought I'd jump on my own and I'm watching the screen. Maybe she'll jump in a minute. Maybe she's forgotten altogether. I know she's in LA, so it's early in the morning for her. So maybe in a few minutes she'll jump in and we'll jump straight into the conversation. But that's the way live chats go, isn't it? It's live and we don't quite know what's going to happen. So welcome, thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna pour this now, and we will have a chat and see how we're getting on. Hi Alison, I've just seen your comment. I'm going to press it now. There we go. Assuming by the fact you haven't said I can't hear you, you're not coming through all right, that everything's working. It's great to be able to talk to you. As I say, I sort of expected to have someone with me here today, so I didn't really know what I was going to say. Something will come up. It will all come. It will all come good in a minute. So yeah, it's just nice to have a chat with you guys. I don't mind one way or the other. To be fair, it's not been good luck, has it? Last couple of weeks because Jake's internet was down. That was frustrating. Not his fault at all. He's back next week, which I'm looking forward to. And then today I haven't been able to get through to Nadia, but we're here. And as I say, hopefully she will jump on in a minute. And I'm looking; it will come on my screen, and she'll appear in a minute. We will see. Fingers crossed. Who knows? But welcome anyway. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a nice afternoon wherever you are. I'm going to talk to you about a few things that I've been doing this week. I sent out my newsletter earlier, so I discussed a few things with you there. And the main thing of my newsletter is that I've made a bit of a decision with the way that my books are distributed, and that's sort of how my books get out to you guys. A bit of a change with regards to them, in that I have decided that I'm just going to put them exclusively on Amazon. And the reason for this is because most of the sales I get come through there already. And to put it all of the other stores is a lot more work, a lot more effort for very little back, very little sort of payback at the moment. And I do appreciate that some people use that store or this store and they like using that store, and that will be a little bit inconvenient for a minority of people. I realise that. But I've had to sort of weigh that up in my mind and think what's important to me is being able to write as many books as I possibly can, and being able to do things like this that connect with you guys. And ultimately, it's a balancing act, isn't it? I have 24 hours in a day, like we all do, and I have to think: am I going to be putting them all into? Am I going to put all my books through these various systems, or am I going to spend time connecting with you guys and doing things like this and writing? And ultimately, those things are more important. So that's my thought process. Let me know what you think, because this is a really good way to discuss that. Actually, this is a really good way to discuss that. Is that will that put you off? Will that be an issue that they're not on Apple and Kobo and Barnes and Noble and all these other stores? Do you care, or do you shop on Amazon anyway? Would that concern you? Let me know. Let's have a conversation about that anyway. I'm gonna have a quick jump over to the comments and see who's here. It's lovely to see your comments on these, particularly when it's me on my own. I absolutely love having, it being a two-sided thing. When there's someone else here with me, I don't mind quite so much. But when it's me, it's really nice to hear what you guys are up to, what you guys are saying. Ian Bondi says, "Hi Luke, hope you're well. I have a Doom Bar today." Me? I love Doom Bar. I had a pint of Doom Bar in a pub yesterday for the first time in months. It was beautiful. In fact, this is relatively close to you, Bondi. The Badger Brewery, Dorset, not Devon, unfortunately. Thirsty Ferret. I like these ones too. And Alison says that Doom Bar is lovely. It is. It's quite local to you, isn't it? I think it's Cornwall Doom Bar, the Cornwall Brewery. So yeah, cheers. There we go. Martha says hello. Great to see you, Martha. How are you doing? Alison saying hello to Martha. And Alison says, not an issue for me with regards to books just being on Amazon as opposed to other retailers. It was one of those that's it has been a difficult decision for me, and I've thought about it for a few weeks, because I obviously want my books to be available to as many people as possible, as many people as want to read them. But ultimately, there has to be a balance between the time invested in getting those books to people. There has to be a balance in that. Otherwise, I'd just spend all my time distributing rather than creating. And that's not what I did. That's not sort of why I went into this, was to just be on the internet uploading files to various different suppliers and that sort of thing. So from, over the next few days, they will start to disappear on various stores, Apple and Kobo and those sorts of things. And then if you've got a Kindle Unlimited subscription, that's the benefit here. If you've got a KU subscription, you will be able to get them in that subscription as well. So if that's something you subscribe to, it might even be an advantage of yours actually to have me in there. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. I'm pleased with that as a decision, because it means I can push forward and work, just go in on that one on that one store, on that one direction, and see where we go. Yeah, let me know what you think, both either in here or in the on email or something. So yeah, I'm interested to hear. Another thing I was talking about this week. Oh yeah, I unveiled Riga's cover in my newsletter earlier. Now, you lucky people have seen that already, haven't you? Because I showed it on the screen last week. Where is it? Oh, it was here somewhere. Or maybe it's disappeared. No, there it is. Boom, right over my face. Boom. It looks brilliant, doesn't it? Great work. That is the next book in the Leo and Alyssa series. I've been working on it this week. I'm doing my first edit at the moment. And it's going well. I'm probably about 90% of the way through, actually. About 90% of the way through. I'm going to finish that tomorrow, is my hope. Finish that tomorrow, and then it will need to be edited and whatever else. I'll have another read through of it as well. So I'm thinking of launching July, which works quite nicely because Steve Moore and I have got 2 more books to come out in the next couple of months. So there'll be one June, one start of July, and then Riga towards the end of July. I think. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really pleased with it. It's sounding like it's feeling like it's come together really, really nicely. I'm going to put the cover on the screen and read the blurb for you. I really need to make a proper sort of image for that, don't I? Andrea Panasenko thought she knew her mother, but then death changes everything. Mourning the death of her mother, Andrea just wants to be left alone, when a strange journal of espionage and intrigue comes to light, along with an amendment to her mother's will. Peace is the last thing she'll get. To avoid losing her inheritance, Andrea must reconnect with her estranged sister. One problem, her sister went missing as a child nearly 50 years ago. Leo and Alyssa travel to Riga to help, but they're barely off the plane before Andrea's nowhere to be seen. Taken or fled, they don't know, but to find her, they must follow clues dating back to a time when powerful men ruled supreme. From the back streets of Riga to the vast Latvian forests, Leo and Alyssa stumble into a dog-eat-dog world of politics, lies and secrets. Can they find the truth about a woman who hasn't been seen in 50 years to save another whose life they fear is on the line? Or will the ghosts of the past get the final word? Ooh, I'm really pleased with it. I think the blurb sounds great. Oh, where am I? There we go. I think the blurb sounds great. I think the cover looks really good. It's reading quite nicely. It's come together nicely. I really hope you're going to enjoy it. Right, so we're talking today about whether it's a problem for you that my books would only be on Amazon and not on the other retailers, because that's the direction I'm going to go for the next... I'm going to try it for a year, is my thoughts. Try it for 12 months and see what the result is after that. That said, there will always be, and I explained this in my email, there will always be a way for you to buy the books if you are not if you don't want to shop on Amazon for whatever reason, if they don't do it in your country, the country that you live or are in at the moment. And that's an important thing for me, because say you live in Mongolia and you want to buy my books. Brilliant, actually, for one. Number two, there's not an Amazon store in Mongolia, I don't think, so that would be a problem for you. So there will always be a way for you to do that. And the way that will probably work is that for the first couple of weeks, the book will be available everywhere. Then I'll take it down on a load of stores, and then it will just be on Amazon after that. And I might, over the course of time, put them back on all the stores for a couple of weeks again, just so that if I get enough interest, if I get people emailing me saying, "Oh, I'd really like this," I may go ahead and do that. We'll see. I'll see how it goes. But it's just about time limitations, really, and the want to do things like this and talk to you and not spend ages messing around with confusing websites. Mark Fern says, not an issue at all. RE Amazon, it makes sense. I guess you have the option to change this anytime as well if you find it's not working. That's exactly it, yeah. So if in a few months, if it's not working for me, I can try again, and we'll see where we're at. Bondi says, Riga's cover looks excellent. I think it does. Alison agrees. Andrew, good to see you, Andrew. How are you doing? He says, it sounds so good. And that cover, I can't get over how awesome it is. Yes, I'm really pleased with it. And Alison has just mentioned something I was going to talk about in a minute, actually. Looking forward to the Brighton podcast. Now, I mentioned last week the Travel Now podcast. It's been quite nice to have these chats, actually, hasn't it? Now I come to think about it. Maybe I know I used to do this on my own all the time, didn't I? And then went into talking to other people, which I do love too, actually. And I've got 2 authors lined up for the next 2 weeks, so that'll be great. I suppose it's all about balance, like anything. A bit of just me, a bit of someone else, whatever, how it goes. This is what we talked about last week, the Travel Now podcast, a brand new project of mine. And last Thursday, I went to Brighton on the train from here. It's about 30 miles away. And I did a walking tour, a live walking tour of the city, and recorded a podcast whilst I was there. I'm really pleased with the result of this, actually. If you go on travelnowpodcast.co.uk, you'll find it. Or you can just search Travel Now Podcast on Spotify, iTunes, whatever other podcatcher you get, it should be there. In fact, if you use a different podcatcher and it's not there, let me know and I will chase that up and find a way to put it on there, on that one. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a live podcast. It's me walking around the streets. It does result in me having a rather tasty beer in a pub at the end of the afternoon. And you sort of get, I feel like you get the real ambience of the place. There's a bit where I'm sort of walking down a street, and you can hear people moving around, cars going past, a conversation from cafes and shops and all this sort of thing. I like it. I think it works quite nicely. Let me know what you think. Have you listened to any of the podcasts yet? Have you got a favourite episode if you've listened to more than one? Let me know. Yeah. So yeah, right, cool. There's something else I wanted to talk to you about, and this is something that Alison knows as well. It is to do with, I'm doing a presentation for, I might have talked about this last week, for a company called the Nomadic Network. Now, they are a company for business people, much like myself, I suppose, who sort of work all over the world, work remotely, and that sort of thing. I'm doing a presentation. I'm trying to find the right link now so that I can share it with you. I'm doing a presentation for them on how to turn your adventures into best-selling novels. And it's going to be about half an hour, 40 minutes long, and I'm going to talk about loads of different things. It's if you've ever thought about having a go at writing yourself, it's definitely for you. Or if you're just interested at how I do it, that's another way I'm trying to sort of present this. It's not necessarily for you if you're just thinking, oh, I want to be a writer. Are you interested in what goes on behind the scenes? And I suppose to an extent you might be, because you're here listening to me having a beer after my day of writing, aren't you? So perhaps you are interested in it. The link is here, nomadicnetwork.com/events. You'll have to scroll a little way down the page. I'm going to find it actually, because that's a list of all the events that they do. I'm on the 5th of June, so I'm at the bottom of that page. I think I'm about 10 or 15 links down, and you can see a picture of me with the Great Wall of China, turning your adventures into best-selling novels. Now I'm going to talk all about how to bring how I research for novels, how I fit, and this is something that people always ask me actually, how I fit a place, so say Riga, with the story, because just because it's in an exciting place doesn't necessarily make it a good story, does it? There needs to be a story that drives that action. So how I fit those together to make them work. A lot of stories that are set in exciting places sometimes aren't that exciting in the story themselves, so it's a real balancing act to get them to work. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about how I develop characters and how I make the characters sort of come alive. I'm going to talk about a little bit. I'm going to talk about the behind the scenes businessy sort of side of it. That's only a tiny bit of the presentation though. Most of it's to do with writing, and talk about how to bring sort of the sounds and the smells and all the exciting things about a particular place to life. That's what I'm hoping to do in that short presentation. So if you're interested, check that out. It's free to register, although when you go on the website it will ask you for a donation, and you put in the box the amount of donations that you're willing to give, like pounds or whatever. You don't have to do that. Just put 00 if you want. If you'd like to leave them a donation, brilliant, do so. But if you're not bothered, you're only if it's an organisation that you think this looks cool, do. But if you're just coming to support me, don't feel obliged to at all. I donate to them regularly. I sort of support them every month with a small payment to keep companies like this going, because I think they do a good job sort of connecting people like me who work remotely and work independently, and that's like a sort of community that I belong to. So yeah, a bit of your money, that you pay buying my books, comes to me and I donate it to them. So that's the important thing. That's the way it goes. Okay. Alison says, I'm going to have a look at these comments. I'm going to have a sip of this beer first though. I do find I talk a lot when I'm solo. Alison says now she's listened to 8 of the episodes. Wow, there's 16 now. Just uploaded. Brighton is number 16, so you're halfway. She loved the Thailand episode. That's the one with Simon, isn't it? With Simon Mooney. Yeah, he was brilliant. Or was that? No. That was the one with Annie. With Annie, when she talked about going to the Lotus Lake and going to jungle trekking. Yes, really fascinating one. Fascinating lady as well, from South African lady working in Thailand as an English teacher. Yeah. And that's why I've loved this podcast, is just chatting to cool people about great places. If any of you guys have been to interesting places and you want to talk to me about it, brilliant, let's do that. That would be fantastic. Andrew says, I'm not a writer, nor will I be, but I would love to see what goes into your writing process, so I will check that out. Congratulations in advance of the event. Thank you, number one. Secondly, that's exactly what I was thinking, Andrew. And that's the way I'm pitching this, actually. It's not really... it's only a short presentation. I've been talking 20 minutes now, so it will only be half an hour, 35 minutes. But... so it's not going to go into too much detail, but it's just to sort of open the door and let you and whoever else is interested see behind how I do that, because I love that aspect of my writing, the travel, bringing that place alive, bringing that place to the page and meshing that with the story and those sorts of things. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Alison says she loves the Kathmandu episode and the Thailand episode. Yes, I do as well. So obviously we have Brighton episode went up today. I'm going to do a Hong Kong one in the pipeline, and I've got an interview next week with a guy who spent some time in Mongolia. In fact, the second time I've mentioned Mongolia in the show today, and that's probably why, because it's in my mind already. I've really loved talking to people about places that I've never been, places that I don't know much about, and Mongolia is one of those. And he went to the capital, which is called Ulaanbaatar or something like that. I don't know it's pronounced that way either. And it sounded fascinating. It sounded, in the way he described it, quite a lot like Kathmandu, in that it's noisy, it's crazy, there's lots of mad cars and people everywhere, and it got my attention instantly. So I thought, yes, let's talk about Mongolia. And another interesting point for me is he went on the train. So he did the Trans-Siberian Railway from Moscow there, and travelled through Europe to Moscow and then down to Mongolia. And I was like, we need to have a conversation about this. So that's going to be recorded next week and will be out at some point in the future, which will be cool. Okay, so this is Books and Beer. I am Luke. It is great to be able to have this conversation with you, as always. And here's my beer. It is a Thirsty Ferret, believe it or not. It tastes really nice. I'm really pleased with it. It's really nice also to be able to do these whilst it's light here in the UK, in England. Yeah, it's lovely. I remember back in the winter, I was doing them in the dark. Okay. So today I was talking to you about whether I've decided that I'm going to pull my books away from the other stores and sell them exclusively on Amazon, just to save me the time of keeping all those stores going, and so that I'm pooling my resources on one place. You know, if you're trying to fight on all these different fronts, do all these different things, you get nothing done. If you concentrate on one thing, the theory goes that you should be able to do that more effectively, and reach more people and get more great readers to read my books and get more people watching me and things like this and interacting with all of you guys. And that's exactly what I want. And I was asking you if it would affect you negatively or positively that they were in Kindle Unlimited and not on the other stores. Do you care? Does it bother you? What do you think? That's what I've asked you today. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to. And also, I'm just going to give a bit of a shout to the people who don't comment. I know there are several people who watch because they email me or text me saying, "Oh, great show," and they like to stay anonymous, and that's brilliant too. You're under no obligation to shout out. You can watch from the back if you want to. That's fine. Fiona's joined us. Hi, Fiona. How are you doing? Are you still over in Ireland, Fiona, or have you made it back over to England again yet? Fiona says, a great name for a beer. It is. I'll show you the label. Thirsty Ferret. There it is. Badger Brewery. I really like the Badger Brewery, actually. They're fantastic. I do intend, and I wondered how this will go down, but a friend of mine recommended emailing some breweries and saying, I do a really highbrow talk show called Books and Beer, where we discuss books, literature, and beers, and I wonder if you'd like to send me a crate. And he said they'd go for it. And I was like, I'm not sure. They might Google it first and check that it's not quite as highbrow as perhaps I'm making out. But and then he said, well, actually, what have you got to lose? Just email so and so. And I thought, this might be a good idea. Haven't done it yet, but maybe I will. Fiona says, I think you would get sent a beer. Yes, I hope so. That would be amazing. And she's in Ireland still. And Fiona says she uses Amazon most of the time. Cool. I do as well. And I go through two mindsets in this, because I use Amazon for all sorts of things. Personally, not just like for selling my books, but like ordering like deodorant and, whatever, all sorts of things. And I go through sort of phases of thinking, oh, should I be using them so much? Am I not supporting smaller retailers and these sorts of things? And then I think, nah, easy, do it. It arrives the next day. It's straightforward, So, yeah, I can't complain. At all. Oh, Anya, how you doing? Good to see you. Really, really, really nice to have you tuning in from somewhere in the Netherlands, aren't you, Anya? I don't know where exactly, but I'd love to go back to the Netherlands. I've been couple of times. I'd like to spend some more time in Amsterdam. Went for a few days in 2019, perhaps. It was a wonderful, great place. Alison says, you haven't done one on Barcelona yet. No, I haven't done a podcast on Barcelona yet, but I will, for sure. I love Barcelona. Marcel and I went in 2019, and we had a great time. Like, it's such a cool city. Like that Gothic. Do they call it the Gothic Quarter? You know, down by the Ramblas, all those little old streets, ancient streets. Really, really nice. Loved it down there. We went to some cool jazz bars and drank some nice cocktails. Yeah, really great place. And yeah, it's in Horn. Cool. Right. Andrew says, Amazon was a good move. I like your idea of supporting indie shops when it comes to the paperbacks. Yes. So going forward, that is my idea. eBooks exclusive on Amazon. You get Amazon to help me sell as many of those as I possibly can, and then get my paperbacks done and perhaps hardbacks as well, and do those, put those through so you can buy them from your local bookstore should you want to, because they have a system in a bookstore that you can go and order a book like one of mine. If I've done this process, which I haven't done yet, you can go into that bookstore and you can say, oh, have you got one of Luke Richardson's books? They can look it up on their system and order it for you, and then they get a cut of that payment. So it's supporting them too, and that's important. I think that is something I'd like to do, certainly. Alison says, I think everyone has been using Amazon with the lockdowns. Yeah, they've gone from busy to busier, haven't they? You can get everything on there. And it's also like, in the past, something like buying light bulbs for a really specific lamp, or batteries, something that's, not the general type of battery, but some random one that you might need to change to use something. And you'd have to go past all these shops with this little thing trying to find the right one, or carry your whole lamp into the supermarket to try the right thing. It's just so straightforward to order it online. It really, really is. Yeah, absolutely is. Fiona says, my brother is in the Netherlands. He's a lecturer in tropical forestry. Fiona has got a fascinating family, to be fair, haven't you? You've got all sorts of people, all sorts of interesting people in your family doing really interesting things. I'm really fascinated by them. Yeah. Okay, so no, it seems actually, and I haven't had any people, it seems that no one would be offended by my books not being on the big, Apple and whatever, these sorts of places, which I'm pleased about, actually. Because my worry was that people would think, oh, I love shopping here. I'm really, you're not supporting me and I don't want to support you then. That would be a worry of mine. But it hasn't seemed that that's been the case. So I'm very reassured by that. That's good. And as I say, it just really, it'll be great to be able to have the time to do things like this, because this is massively important to me. I love chatting, drinking beer. What's not to like? And I am looking forward to, at some stage, doing a beer and books, and maybe beer and books then, because there'll be lots of beer, with like someone like Steve in a pub when we're together across, just sitting there having a chat on camera with you guys. I'd love that. That would be so much fun. So perhaps that will happen. And there's a few other authors not too far away. Ken Preston isn't a million miles away. Stephen Taylor's not a million miles away either. Some of these guys I've had on, before, it would be possible for us to do this in person somewhere else, at some place and at some time. So yeah, that'll be great. Alison says, I need to read The Warehouse by Rob Hart. Okay, I will do so. I'll add that to my reading list, my to be read pile that we can sort of get buried under. It's always the way. Okay, I'm just scrolling through my email now to see if there's anything else I want to sort of discuss with you. Oh, Riga is up for pre-order. I didn't mention that earlier, did I? But you probably know that already, I imagine. I'm going to find a link. I think I've got a link for it somewhere or other. I will put one on here. Yeah, It's up for pre-order. You can pre-order it on any of the stores there, and it will be available on all of those stores to start with, and then after a couple of weeks it will go exclusive on Amazon. So I'm going to do that so that you can order it wherever you might want to. If you've pre-ordered it already, thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. The hope is to have it out by Alison's birthday, which is at the end of July. I want to say it's the 31st, but I might be wrong. She'll correct me in a moment if that is the case. But I know it's towards the end of July at least. That's my plan. We will see if it comes off. As ever, I'm always a bit... I never tie myself down to a release date because I want it to be brilliant, firstly. It needs to be a great book. You know, it needs to be finished and in really good quality. And actually, the release date itself isn't as important as it just being out. So I'd rather it just wait a week, or you know, it being out and it being right. So I'd rather it just wait till it's ready. I know that can be a little bit. I know that can be a bit frustrating not to know exactly when it is, but yeah, that's the way I'm going. Anya says, I would love a Books and Beer like that, certainly with Steve. So would I, Anya, so would I. I think that would be brilliant fun. We'll do it when he's back in the UK and we're able to do that. Oh. Here we go. That's our first beer. Look at that. Done. Happy days. Alison says, yes, it's the 31st. Good memory. Yeah, I'm impressed. I remembered that. Yeah. Really good. Really good. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, as ever. It is a shame that maybe, as I say, it's early in the morning for Nadia in LA, which is a shame she hasn't been able to get on here. So, yeah, there you go. That's the way it is with live things. I thought when she didn't turn up, I thought, I'm just going to I'll just go on my own, and it's lovely to talk to you guys anyway. It's one of these things I look forward to in the week, is just sharing this with you, and if someone else is here, then that's a bonus. Now, next week, Jake Needham, who was supposed to be here last week, but he's in Bangkok, and his internet went down. And I said to him, we had a bit of a funny exchange of email, and I said, as a thriller writer, do you always think if the internet goes down, why? What's happening? You know, has the government shut it down to stop some uprising? You know, is it been infiltrated by some evil people and being used for this? You know, and he was like, yeah. He had this little chat about what might be happening behind that. But it's back working again now, he's told me, and it will be good to go. That means we're going to do it 2 hours early. So we'll be doing it at 3 o'clock rather than 5. That's because he is so many hours ahead that now's midnight for him, or half midnight now. And he said he couldn't do midnight because I think he's you know, it just wasn't feasible on a Wednesday for him to stay up that late. He said it wouldn't be a very good conversation, and I said fair enough. I think if I was talking to someone at midnight, it wouldn't always be a particularly good conversation. So we're going to do it at 3 o'clock instead next week. I will put a thing in my group to remind you of that. But if you miss it and you tune in at 5, it will be there for you to watch. So if you can't make 3 o'clock, come in at 5 o'clock and you'll just be able to press play and it'll be there. Unfortunately, you won't then be able to engage with us live, but you can still get involved afterwards, and I'll still look through the comments after. So yeah, if that's the case, that's the way it goes. Oh, Jim's tuned in. Hi, Jim. Good to see you, mate. Thank you so much. Fiona says she has a big birthday in October. Ooh, nice. Happy birthday in advance. Alison says, in Ireland, those people have brought down our health service this week. They are holding us to ransom. What do you mean by that? Sorry, I'm not... Maybe that was written a little while ago. 33. Yeah. Not sure. I don't know. So Jake's the next week. Then after that, I've got a week where I'm not sure, so I may book someone like that. Then a guy I've just connected with on social media called JT Patton is the week after that. So that's June the 9th. And I've just downloaded one of his books to my Kindle. It looks brilliant. I haven't started reading it yet, but will do in advance of that conversation. But that could be a good one. Oh, I see what you mean, Fiona, in terms of the internet. Ah, right, yes. So there's been like the computer system of the health service has been shut down. Yeah, that happened in the UK a couple of years ago. It's crazy. They all the hospital appointments were cancelled because someone hacked into the computer networks and no one could get any of their data off the computers. Crazy. It's still preferable though to them carrying around giant folders with all the doctor's notes of every appointment you've ever had. I think, it made me. They did that up until very very recently. It always, 5 years ago or something, you'd go into the doctors and they'd have this giant file and they'd open it and there's a list of every injection you'd ever had and every everything you ever had told a doctor ever was in this giant file. Blimey, sounds crazy. Hopefully they'll sort that out quickly, Fiona, because that could be very serious. Right, so next week 3 o'clock with Jake. I'm really looking forward to that. If you have the chance of reading one of his books, do. You'll love them. They're brilliant. Set in Singapore, his Inspector Samuel Tay ones are. He's got others that are set all over Southeast Asia. So for me, they're brilliant. They're spot on. If you like those sorts of things in my writing, I think you'll like them as well. Okay, thank you so much. As ever, it's been amazing to have this conversation with you. I really, really like being able to share this with you, as I say. I will see you again next week. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your beer. Cheers. And see you later.